Wakey wakey, eggs and bakey. Welcome back to PM in the AM, a comedy podcast for listeners of all ages. This show contains the kind of humor to make you laugh out loud no matter where you're listening. Each week we take a deep dive into some of the funniest questions, debates, purchasable items, and news stories found on the internet. My name is Porter McNeely, and I am joined by co-host Blake Bushman, and we are going to strive and do everything possible to bring you a half hour of humor today. Blake, I know it's been kind of a long weekend for you. Glad to get you back on the podcast, and hopefully we can take your mind off some things.
Yeah. We missed a week. We apologize for that. That was my doing. Porter was dying to get back to record. I know, but it was a rough weekend. We had some flooding where I'm at, also at my in-laws. So it was some long nights of staying there for 8 hours, carrying out carpet and flooring and drying out what we could, getting home to seeing water coming up through the vents at our apartment. So it was a long weekend. So sorry we didn't get to record for you guys, but we're back and we'll make up for it this week with a good episode.
Jeez, man, what a nightmare. What you're describing is horrible. So definitely glad you're kind of on the rebound from that. It sounds terrible. But we were able to kind of post an episode from the vault, which was pretty funny, talking about your snowboarding days and a couple other funny stories that I'd completely forgot about. So I'm sure the listeners enjoyed that, just like I'm sure they're going to enjoy the show we got coming up for them today. We have a morning crew review that we're going to get into, a Porter's Pro tip. We've got listener submitted questions this week in the form of would you rather questions that we're really excited to answer. There's some really good ones that we have, and we haven't told each other which ones we're going to be asking. So should be some good off the top of the head type commentary. And then we are going to be getting into another tier list this week where we are going to be ranking household chores. Me and Blake, huge fans of household chores, so we had to
love 'em.
get that in
So
there for spring cleaning.
about the chores.
Yeah, I know. Going to be ranking those, so it's going to be a great show. I'm really excited. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at PM in the AM podcast. And without further ado, Blake, let's go ahead and get into that morning crew review.
Absolutely. This one is a good one. It came in from Pat, #1 fan. Listen for health benefits. 5 stars. This podcast is brilliant and original. I always find myself cracking up. If you really want to laugh, you need to listen to PM in the AM. If you're not convinced, do it for your health. Laughing triggers your body to release endorphins, which help relieve pain, reduce stress, and improve your mood. Endorphins are natural, good chemicals that will give you a better high than any Sharpie product. Good for a great time and better health. Tune in.
What an amazing review.
I mean, I think we need to contact Pat, #1 fan, which, side note, I hope that their name is Pat and that they're saying they're our #1 fan and they're not like Pat's #1 fan. That would be totally different. So I'm going to stick with that they're our #1 fan. But I feel like we need to make this the new intro. This was phenomenal. I mean, this person is a poet with their words.
No, I thought it was about halfway through. It kind of sounded like one of those pharmaceutical commercials that you see on TV all the time. It's like may cause smiling, may cause happiness, may cause laughter out
Side
loud.
effects may
I don't know.
include.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was pretty amazing.
I probably
should
have read it in like the really fast-paced voice. You know when they get to the end of the commercials and they're like, "Hey, this product is going to make your life better." Then you get right at the end, like, "By the way, the death may occur because of cancer, the loss of limbs."
Yeah, fortunately for the podcast, all those things were positive, but that's kind of what, as you were reading it, it just sounded like that person must work for one of those companies, and be writing commercials. But amazing review. I think that's, one of the best we've gotten all time. Shout out to Pat. Pat or Patriots fan #1. We really appreciate you sending in that review. It means a lot. As always, you guys can go on Apple Podcasts and leave a review for the show. We really appreciate that, and we always read them. And we also, I'd ask you to rate the show 5 stars on Spotify or whatever other listening platform you use. But Blake, coming back to this pro tip that I've got for you guys this week, I've been I've been known to road rage in the past. You know, I spend a lot of time driving for my job. I spend a lot of time out on the roads, and I had an epiphany, Blake. This week, I had the bright idea of how I could stop being such a rude driver, stop letting people ruin my days on the road. And so this week, Blake, I think I have come up with the most genius tip to avoid road rage, and that is whenever you road rage at somebody, you immediately follow it up with some sort of positive compliment. So, for example, I got cut off and I was just like, this guy is such an idiot. Like, it made me so mad. And I just said, you know what? He's probably a really nice guy. I hope you have a wonderful day, as he was just driving off. And instead of me being all upset and feeling terrible inside, you know, I was smiling. I was kind of laughing it off.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, you get flipped off in on the freeway, and you think, "Oh, what a jerk!" But also, that was the most beautiful man I have ever seen.
Where does he get his teeth whitened?
Yeah, wow, what a haircut that guy had.
You're following him for like 20 minutes and he's like, gets out and he's, what's going on? He's all upset and you're just like, hey man, I really just want to know, did you get your eyebrows done?
You have a fantastic smile. I mean, if
So I
nothing,
think this is the way to.
I think it's even better when you make the compliment as ridiculous as possible, like
Mm.
just something so over the top, because then you're just going to make yourself laugh, and then you'll forget about it and move on.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I've been somebody known to get kind of ragey, and a lot of times people don't see me coming or whatever, and they just start backing up out of their driveways, and I just stop, and I'm just right there watching these people back up, which actually happened this past week. And this lady did that to me, and instead of just saying some potentially awful, rude things, I held it in, and I just said, "Thank you for backing up. Enjoy your day," and it was a lot better.
Thank
So.
you for backing up.
I said thank you for not checking both ways, and I hope you don't decide to do that again in a busy intersection or something like that.
Yeah, this is probably something I need to take into account, because I don't like get like filled with rage to the point where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna. But I do insult people on their driving all the time. So I should probably step one, insult their driving because they're driving poorly. I wouldn't have a comment if they weren't. But then I can follow it up with a compliment on they are the best mother to their children. Like, terrible driver, fantastic mother.
Those kids are going to be raised so well. I see a future doctor and a future lawyer, some real world changers in the car. No, it's incredible. And I'm telling you guys, try to implement this. And I think it's going to change your life to a whole nother positive spin that you probably wouldn't have ever seen coming from this podcast because we have been very pro road rage in the past. But I think we're turning over a new leaf and I
we
think it's going to make us better people.
we have
the
endorsed road
pro
rage.
road,
Yeah,
the
this
pro road rage podcast.
yeah, they have PM in the AM spinoff. Let's do it.
All right, but yeah, that's my pro tip for the week. So hopefully we can spread some positivity, get some compliments flying around on the roads instead of rage. So, um, well, getting into our next segment, Blake, we have a different version of the listener submitted question of the week. We asked you guys for some would you rather questions, and we've got some of them that we came up with ourselves, and some that we kind of put a little spin on. Because I think the important thing about a would you rather question is they've got to be close to 50-50, or you're going to find a loophole and not want to do one. So that was kind of the difficulty I had coming up with my own. And to be honest, I kind of looked through some online forums and whatever,
Mm.
and it's hard to kind of find some good ones. You kind of just have to brainstorm these. They have to come to you, you know?
Yeah,
Like you have to
that's
be
like
affected
driving
by
around on a
something.
Wednesday, like in the middle of the day, it'll just pop into your head. That's how things usually come to me. Is I have to be doing something totally unrelated, and then all of a sudden it'll pop. It'll just come to me, and then because yeah, a lot of the ones you see or that people sent in, I felt were a little too easy, and
Yeah.
maybe you felt totally different, and maybe we should
No,
have
I
gone over
did.
them, but I'm excited to see what you come out with, and hopefully you can hit me with some hard hitting questions.
All right, so this is one that I don't know if it was a Wednesday, but I was just out doing my thing and it just came to me. So, first of all, I would like to know, Blake, would you rather wear a red polo and khakis every time you shop at Target or
Mm.
wear your clothes inside out and backwards every time you shop at Walmart?
Oh, I mean, you're going to be fitting right in either way. It's just a matter of if you want people to come up and ask you questions, which
I mean,
I
potentially you're getting questions about sanity versus where is
where's the
the
milk?
beauty aisle. Yeah, exactly.
And I have an easy answer for this one. I mean, there's definitely some debate, but for one reason and one reason alone, I will be wearing a red shirt and khakis at Target, and that is
Really?
and that is because I want to mess with people. I will fully embrace. There will not be a single time that I go, "Oh, sorry, I actually don't work here." I will be sending people to the wrong side of the store. I will memorize the layout of every Target, and then I will direct people just so far away from where they want to be. And I
You
will
made
tell
me
things.
think of
I'll tell them they're out of stock, or I'll tell them they have it when I know they're out of stock, just so I can make them search. Like, no, it's on D23. You just gotta. You're not looking right.
You're just like, you know those two black doors that fling open when you push into them? You need to go back there into the back where the forklift is, and you need to drive the forklift, and then it'll be on your right.
I'm going to be sending so many people into the back. Just be like, oh no, we have it in the back. New policy. You can just go back there and see what we don't have on the shelves, just for you. I'm going to be having
Jeez.
a great time at Target.
And see, that's a very Blake answer. But me personally, I was thinking, is there anything worse than being confused as an employee? You maybe have like a headphone in, you're just trying to do some quick shopping, get in and out, and then all of a sudden, some old person comes up to you and is like, "Hey, can you help me find the mayonnaise or the bunion cream?" And you're like, "Dude, first of all, I don't work here." Have you ever made like the mistake of wearing like a red shirt and khakis to Target? Has that ever happened to you?
Probably not. Definitely been times that like I was mistaken for an employee at other places, but I don't know if I've
Hmm.
ever had that combo at a Target. So I know what happens, but I don't know if Target has ever happened to me.
All right. Well, that's my first one. I think we had some pretty good debate there. I think so. You're going Target. I think
Oh,
I'm
for
going
sure.
Walmart
Oh,
because I just want to get. I want to get in and do my thing.
you're going
It's
full
going to be
psychopath.
uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm going full
Oh
psychopath.
man.
I want my jeans on backwards and my shirt on inside out and backwards as well. So I think I'm taking the Walmart there. I'm gonna go crazy mode.
All right, well, agree to disagree on that one. All right, I got one here for you. Would you rather have hiccups for the rest of your life or constantly feel like you're about to sneeze?
My gosh, I don't know because that's tough because I hate the hiccups, but I also hate the eye water before the sneeze. For me, it's
Oh, constant eye water for sure.
oh yeah. For me, I hate that. I'm coming off like I've been battling colds on and off for an entire month, and my left eye, for whatever reason, whenever I get a cold, just decides that it has just watched the saddest dog movie where the dog dies of all times, and it has just been crying for an entire month straight. So I just have looked like an idiot, tearing up in my left eye, and I'm so sick of it. So I'm taking the hiccups, even though that would stink. I think at some point you're going to get adjusted, and you're just going to kind of roll with it. I don't think the
Dude,
sneeze is constantly just going to be a weird buildup.
I should go to the doctor. I have a condition that I have the world's most violent hiccups. They are so loud and so painful. I stop like
Painful.
if I was at a movie theater and I got the hiccups, they would have to stop the show. Like they would be who is dying? Like I'd get security to come and kicking me out because there is no concealing these. If I tried to like, hold my breath and keep it with inside, I would have like a hole through my chest. It would just burst right out.
Jeez,
So I cannot, for my health, choose hiccups because it would take off immediately about 20 years of my life. So I have to go
that's
with sneeze.
crazy.
And the feeling
Oh,
that you're about to sneeze is quite possibly one of the most torturous things because a sneeze is, oh, it feels so good. A sneeze is
true.
fantastic. I love a good sneeze. But the feeling right before it where it just won't come is dreadful. But I feel like I just would have to learn to live with that. And that's my new reality because I cannot take hiccups for the rest of my life. I would just rather pass away.
No, that yeah. So in your case, again, we're on the opposite end. But I mean, if you got violent hiccups, I think you're gonna have to pass over that. Either of those are terrible. That's just a rough one. So I mean, awful. All right, Blake, switching things up a little bit. Would you rather have to honk at the person in front of you every time the stoplight turns green, regardless if they are moving or not,
Mm.
or would you rather have to wait at every stoplight until the person behind you honks at you.
Oh man, no, you're just a terrible person either way.
Yeah.
Oh man, here's the thing. I feel like you have to go with you be the one that honks because I got places to be. Other people got places to be. I don't want to be the reason that gets held up. Me honking at somebody, they're gonna think I'm a jerk for 13 seconds, and then they'll forget about me and move on. Like I'll give them a nice little courtesy wave, be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you saw." The real problem comes in when they're already moving, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Pick up the pace." Like, you also got to put on one of those like train horns, so it's just
Oof.
super loud. Really establish dominance. No, I'm too impatient to be the one that to sit there and wait until they honk. Because what if you got like a nice old lady behind you? She's not honking. She's probably half asleep in her driver's seat as it is. She doesn't know what's going on. She's waiting for you to go. So I I couldn't do that because I am way too impatient. I'd be honking at myself trying to get her attention. Be like,
Like, please
oh
just
yeah,
honk, make it
hey.
end.
So I have to go with I'm the one that's honking there. I'll be the dirtbag. I'll embrace that role, uh, and I'll just have to roll with it.
Yeah, I think your logic is very sound on that one. I think I would take the exact same one. I think it's
Oh,
better to just be the jerk, get the scowl, get flipped
mm,
off every 5 seconds, but just be able to move. I think the whole uh, not being able to move, being stuck at the light would be tough, especially in your case. You know, you're pushing some friendly people over the edge. They're sitting in their car having like an inner turmoil, trying to decide, should I honk the horn? Has it been long enough? Like, when do I hit the cutoff?
yeah.
And I don't want those people to have to deal with that. So instead, I'll just be honking at them,
So thoughtful of
nice
you.
and
That's
loudly.
that's great. Mine was all selfish. You're just thinking about the other people.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take us back to sneezing. A lot of mine revolve around sneezing. Apparently, I didn't realize that until just now. But would you rather fight the person closest to you every time you sneeze, or be teleported to a random location within a 20-mile radius every time you sneeze?
Oof. I mean,
Come
obviously we're
out,
gonna go for the
come allergy season,
stranded
you're having a
factor.
rough time. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. If you get teleported, you just got to find your way back. You don't have your car or whatever. You have your phone, so if you need to like Uber back, you can.
what kind
But you're
of is this like a thumb war or what kind of fight are we talking about? About the nearest person to
No,
me?
this is a fight until either one of you gets knocked out. You don't have to go to the
Oh
death.
my
This
gosh.
isn't you're not, killing people, but you are knocking somebody out. So if it's a little kid, you're smacking the crap out of that little kid. Old lady, sayonara. Buff dude, you're ending up in the hospital. So,
Yes.
you gotta plan your sneezes accordingly. You gotta pick somebody who you think you could take in a fight without taking too much damage, but also not seem like a total dirtbag. So you got to plan your sneezes accordingly.
As I think more and more about that one, like you said, what if there's only an old lady or a little kid? Like you can't go knock out or a disabled person. You can't do that. That's not okay. So I got to go with teleporting for
Hmm.
that reason because I am a big sneezer and yeah, I'm probably going to get a sightsee quite a bit around the 20-mile radius because I've been sneezing quite a bit. So that's
Yeah.
it's going to be terrible every time when I have to walk home, but I'm going to get in really good shape from doing so. Unless I sneeze again and then I'm like 100 miles away from
Yeah. Yeah. You,
continued
you
sneezing.
sneezed three times and now you're 60 miles away from where you started.
I'm just
That
stuck.
that would be
I'd
rough.
be sneezing around the world. Which one are you taking, Blake?
See, the problem with the teleport when you sneeze is that like I sneeze multiple times, I'll end up so much further away. Or I could end up right back where I started, I guess, depending on how it plays out. The problem is if I end up in somebody's living room from my random sneeze, there's a good chance I get beat up anyways. you know,
No.
like if I teleport into a dude's bathroom while he's in there having some me time, I don't want to. I don't want to have to try to explain myself. Like, oh, sorry, I sneezed. Like that's not going to play out well. So I will just say that I'll beat up the closest person, and then I'll just have to come up with a million excuses. Like, oh yeah, no, they said something about my mom. Like I'll just have to play it off, and then I'll just do my best to sneeze around somebody that I think I could take in a fight without being a total dirtbag.
They tried to steal your lunch money or something. No, that's a good reasoning behind it. I still am more confident with my pick, but let's get into another one. So, Blake, would you rather only be able to change your socks once a year or only be able to change your underwear every 6 months?
Socks once a year or underwear every 6 months. Oh man, I'm gonna have to. I have to go with socks because I'll just never
Once a
take
year?
I'll never take my shoes off. I'll be growing all sorts of fungus and little tree friends inside of there. But like I just feel like if you don't take your shoes off, people probably don't know. The main problem is when it comes time to shower and then you have to get the wet socks. That's when that's going to be a real big bummer.
Dude, you're
Like
gonna take those socks off at the end of the year, and your entire 10 toes are gonna come off with it. You're
you're
just gonna
gonna
have
you're
club
gonna be
feet
so
after
like
that.
the
That is
wrinkly,
disgusting.
when you get out of water for a long time and your skin's all wrinkly and stuff. That's exactly what's gonna happen to my toes. But I just underwear would get too musty. Actually, can I change my answer? I have a bidet, so I stay fresh. I stay super fresh down there. I'm I'm clean as can be. And then in the shower, I'll just make sure I soap up on the undies. But I'm using the bidet 14 times a day just to make sure it's nice and fresh. So I changed my answer.
Good answer. That's my thought as well. Is like twice a year is better than once a year, and yeah, like you said, I feel like I have more control of the cleanliness down there.
Yeah,
But either way, that's a tough one.
yeah, no, that's great. You know what's really the worst part about that though isn't the fact that you can't wash them. It's the fact that you're taking your wet clothing and either because you were showering with these things, so you're either putting pants on over wet underwear, or
Oof.
you're putting shoes on over wet socks, which both options are horrendous, just to say the least. So
But when I think about it, I think the socks is definitely worse because if you get wet feet, they're probably gonna be wet
yeah,
all
but
day long.
the real thing is that they will be wet all day long, but people won't notice. But you can't wear light colored pants anymore. Khakis out the window. Any pants but black you can't wear because you'd be looking like you wet yourself. So
Yeah,
that,
that's fair.
that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I'll stick with underwear though, just because I'm worried about smell more than anything. All right,
Yeah, hopefully.
this is my last one here that I got, and it's a doozy. All right, would you rather have gummy teeth or hot dog fingers?
Depends. Do I get to eat the gummy teeth?
No, no, your teeth are just like the think about like a gummy bear. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
the structure that your
Oh
teeth have now.
gosh,
So you're
you
not
can't eat
chewing.
it.
You're
You
not
can't eat
chewing.
a thing. It's
No.
only soft foods.
Yeah.
There's no way you're ever partaking of anything. I mean, you could blend it, but then if you have hot dog hands, you're never really grabbing anything. You're
No.
never really using your hands to do anything. You're just basically useless.
Yeah, you can
So
like
I'm
hold
gonna
stuff
take
like
gummy
this.
teeth.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
blending
or
all
you
your
can have a
foods.
nice. You can have a nice hot dog roast. You're gonna be the hit of every campfire this next summer if you've
You're
got
just
hot dog hands.
everybody's munching on a different finger, and they just
Oh, oh,
they
it's so
they grow
gross.
back like fingernails. Just,
That would be pretty sweet. But I think for that reason, I'm taking the gummy teeth. I'm buying the nicest blender on the market, and I am putting 7 course meals up in there, blending it up, and I'm still going to get all my nutrients and everything I need.
yeah. No, I actually agree with you because I'm going to be doing it'll be a constant juice cleanse is what it's going to be. I'm making smoothies left, right, and center. Ice cream, that's what's really important to me. I can still eat ice cream. And a lot of stuff, I feel like if, it gets like in your mouth long enough, you can kind of just like crush it up with your tongue. And so I feel like you
Yeah,
could still live a normal life with gummy teeth, but hot dog fingers, you can't do anything.
it's over.
You know how hard it would be to do just type on a keyboard with hot dog fingers. You can't do it. So you're just
What's the guy's name that every summer on 4th of July there's a big contest of hot dog eating. What's
Joey
that guy's
Chestnut.
name that always wins?
Joey Chestnut.
If you run into Joey Chestnut and you got hot dog hands, you better be running for your life.
Do you know how many of your
Because
fingers
that
he could eat
man
in
is
10 minutes?
single-handedly, oh, the whole hand. You're gonna
Mm.
be having club hands after
Joey
a while.
Chestnut
But
would
those are
choose
some
hot dog fingers for sure. Absolutely.
every time. All right, well, those are some great would you rather questions. We have more, so we're gonna have to rotate this in occasionally and do a would you rather listener submitted question. So if you sent one in that didn't get read today, probably going to get read in the future, and we appreciate you sending them in. Hopefully you guys were like playing along with us as we discuss these hard-hitting questions. We will be back in just a couple of seconds to go over the household chores tier list, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back. And we are back. We've got another tier list for you. The household chores rankings. Blake, I think this is really important. It is spring, even though it doesn't seem like it where we live. We keep getting snow, but it's time to do the spring cleaning. So we got to help the listeners out. We got to get them, sometimes you got to select the chores you want to do off of a list. We want to help make sure you guys choose the best chores off of whatever list you're having to do spring cleaning from and skip out on the worst chores. So we have taken it upon ourselves to make a tier list. And if you're watching the video, you're going to be able to see that. If not, just on the audio version, we will be talking through it. So there are a couple of categories where we're going to be ranking each chore. The best is love it / therapeutic. Underneath, we have don't mind. Underneath that, we have neutral. Below that, I'd rather not. And last but not least, at the very bottom, we have hate it / refuse. So, Blake, give us your opinion on chores. How are you feeling about this tier list overall?
Yeah, I don't think anybody really loves chores, but there are certain ones that at certain times are far better than the others. Like nobody's having chores as their hobbies, but there are definitely certain ones that you look at and you say, okay, at least I can, put on my headphones. I can, listen to PM and AM podcast while I do it. Certain things like that make chores so much better. And I think that for me personally is what plays probably the largest, part of how I rank these. So it'll be interesting to see what you think about them and where they end up on this list.
Yeah. So as we make this list together, we're going to have to do some arguing, deciphering to try and get this right between the both of us. But let's get into it, Blake. Let's start off with the top left here. So we have sweeping as the first chore that we're going to be discussing. Blake, what's your opinion on sweeping? You big broom guy?
For me, sweeping can be somewhat satisfying just because if the floor is really dirty and you're like,
okay,
if you can see the dust and the junk get picked up and, you got your nice pile going on, I feel like it's one of those ones it's when you can easily see the benefit as you're doing it, it can be pretty satisfying, but it's still not like amazing for me. So I'd probably put it in don't mind it to neutral, just because it's definitely not the worst one.
That's a really good point. If you're stepping on crumbs and then you sweep, it's therapeutic. So I would agree with you. I don't mind it. It's not the best chore possible,
Right.
but let's throw it up there and get started with this tier list.
Perfect.
Next, we have getting the mail. And, I think this is a nice one just because of how simple it is. You just got to, if you got the box at your house right outside, if you got the lock boxes, either drive or walk there. And usually there's some fun things inside. So I would probably put that at don't mind it to neutral. Blake, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't think I mind it. It is kind of a pain when you're in your house and comfy and you got to go put on shoes, but that's the worst part. After that, it's the easiest job, and you can milk the crap out of it. You can be scrolling your phone. You can be doing whatever. You can walk as slowly as you want to make sure you don't have to get back inside and start doing something else. Because that's the worst part of it is because it's so easy, it's almost like, oh, well, now that you're back, go do this. So it kind of gets stacked on. So for that, I can't put it super high, but I'd probably put it neutral. It's, it's not terrible. It's not great, but.
Let's throw it at neutral then. I agree with you on that one. And moving on, we have disinfecting, which, I think this is just kind of simple task. I would
Yeah.
throw it at neutral. How do you feel about that, Blake?
Yeah, I'd probably put it there too. It seems like a finishing job that like after you've
Mhm.
already spent all the time cleaning, you finally get there and you're just wiping stuff down. So it's really not too bad.
The next one might be one of our first controversial ones, and
Mm.
that I believe is taking out the garbage, Blake. This is a kind of a notorious thing where people in certain houses, always kind of get assigned to be the guy who takes out the trash. I'm not sure if that's how you are, but how do you feel about this chore?
I am the trash guy. That's what they call me here in this house. Here's my thing with trash, and I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here. And there's no bearing to my reasoning behind this, other than the fact that I just think the world should be this way. And when it comes to taking out the trash, I think if you're living in a two-person household, whoever is the trash person that takes it out, that's great. You take out the trash, that's your job. The other person should have to replace the sack. Okay? I walk out the door. When I come back in, it should have another sack in there. All right? I don't want to have to take it out and replace it. I don't, and there's no real reason for it, but I just feel like that's how the world works. So
So
I
you're
stick
saying you sacrifice to go out in the cold. When you come
exactly.
back,
Yeah,
you shouldn't have to think about the bag.
I gotta go put on shoes. I gotta touch this nasty garbage. I don't know what's in there. It's probably
You're such a hero, Blake.
dripping from juices. Yeah, I'm making a huge sacrifice. It's the least that they can do to just throw another sack in. That's no big deal, right? You can do that in the middle of whatever you're doing. So I don't mind taking out the trash. It's not something crazy. I'd love to hear where you think it belongs, because for me, it could go in any of them, honestly.
Yeah, I would probably put it at either neutral or I'd rather not. But
Yeah.
what do you think on that one?
We'll put it in I'd rather not, because if I
Okay.
have to put the garbage sack in, if I have to put the liner in the can when I get back in, that's like two
Mhm.
different jobs. I'm doing two chores in one. So then I'd put it in I'd rather not.
All right, next we have a fridge that looks, pretty clean. So cleaning the fridge, Blake. I'm curious to see where you stand on this one.
Mhm.
Personally, I'm not a big fan because there's always something that gets tipped over, sticky. There's always mess in the door. There's always old food that you find that's moldy. So personally, I'd rather not clean the fridge.
Yeah, I'd rather not clean the fridge, and it's for a lot of the same reasons that you said, but more than anything, it's just because I get so sad about how many things went bad, and I'm just like, oh man, I would have eaten that, or
Yeah.
oh man, I didn't even know we had this, and so all this food, perfectly good food, gone to waste, money down the drain for no reason. So it makes me sad when I have to clean out the fridge. So yeah, I'd rather not, because in an ideal world, I could just eat everything. It would never go bad, and I'd never have to clean it out.
I agree with you on that one. That is sad when you find out that your favorite stuff that you made a dish and you're trying to get some sort of topping for it out of the fridge and it's just gone. Or you make something and you put milk in it that's just sour. There's nothing worse. So I'm going to put that in I'd rather not, Blake. And the next one that we have on the list is feeding the pet, Blake. You currently don't have a pet. I
I
do.
don't.
And so I think I should be the only one able to give an
Absolutely.
opinion on this one. And
I will pass it to you.
I'm going to
for
throw
sure.
it up. Yeah, I'm going to throw it up in the don't mind it. I mean, I don't love it. It's something I always do, but I love making sure my pet feels good. But
You like it when your
I-
pet lives. That's a bonus.
yeah. So I guess I could maybe put it in the love it, but I'm just going to put it in the don't mind it because it's just something you do without thinking about it because you're a good human trying to help your pet stay healthy. So
Yeah,
we'll
definitely.
throw that one there. And the next one we have is cooking, Blake. I think this is one of the more polarizing ones
Yeah.
on here. There are people that love it, people that hate it. Where do you stand on cooking?
You know what? Typically, I enjoy cooking. I like food, and I really do enjoy like a home cooked meal. And so, if I'm the one that has to cook it, then that's fine. I prefer that to most things most of the time. And so, the process of cooking is fine. The thing that I don't like is chopping the vegetables. If I could buy the pre-chopped vegetables, I would love cooking, because the worst thing ever when I get to, they're like, easy 5-minute recipe, and then they're like, chop up an onion and dice the celery and then take out the parsley and finely chop that. And I'm like, this is a 35-minute job for me. Okay. I'm not a professional chef. Maybe you, when you go and you can chop it up like Lightning McQueen, maybe you can chop it up in 5 minutes. Not this guy. This guy's going to spend 45 minutes just trying to find a cutting board, and then I'm going to cut myself. And so I enjoy everything besides the chopping and cooking. Otherwise, I would probably put it in the love it, because that means I'm getting food.
You know, there's things where you can literally just put like a whole vegetable in there and just slice it. It's like a dicer. It's the easiest thing.
We have one. And here's the problem.
And you don't use it?
I use it all the time. The problem with it is that you still have to cut the vegetable to a certain size in order to get it in there. And so onions are fine because you cut off either end and kind of cut it in half and it'll fit in there and it'll dice it up nicely. But you can't just like put a cucumber in there and dice it up, because you still have to chop it to get a dice. And so
couldn't you cut it in like 3 and then just do 3 segments? That seems so easy.
It's still so much more work. It's not.
Oh my gosh!
The cooking when I'm at the oven. I'm in the zone. You know, I'm sautéing up the pan. Like that part's fun to me. Everything else though is terrible. So it's still in the top half of jobs for me, just because it means I'm getting food. But you know, if somebody else wants to cook, then that's fantastic.
Yeah, so I would personally put it in don't mind it, because to me it's not necessarily therapeutic, but at times I gotta eat, you know, I gotta make something. So I think throwing it there would do it justice. It's definitely better than a lot of things on this list.
Definitely.
But I don't have a phobia of cutting vegetables, and it might not look pretty, but it gets done quick.
Listen,
all right.
I'm all about beauty, so it takes a long time.
Okay. Well, next we got a couple of pet ones, and the first is picking up pet droppings. I am definitely, you know, I can't hate it or refuse it, so I am definitely going to put it in the I'd rather not. I do have to do it quite often, but I would still rather not. But I'm going to throw this out there, Blake. I'm not the kind of person that just does like a look side to side and then leaves it, because those are probably the worst kind of people. I mean, there are times if we're on a hike and she poops off trail, I'll go get a big rock and I'll just cover it. So it's going to take 1,000 years for anybody to find fossilized dog crap underneath said rock.
Now, if it's in the middle of the trail, are you doing a little kick off to the side and then put a rock on?
No, I'll bag it. I'll bag it up. I'm not trying to. I mean,
you're not carrying the bag with you
unless there's a big rock off the side that I can just put in the middle of the trail.
New trail,
just add an obstacle. No, but in terms of like residential and in the common area of the condo place that we live in, I'm batting 1,000, Blake. I always pick it up, and none of the other people do.
Stand-up citizen. This is incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I'm still rather not. But it's just something you have to do. You got to man up at some point and take responsibility, and that's where I am at that. Okay, moving on. We've got another pet one, back-to-back pet ones, and we have giving the dog a bath. I'm going to go with I'd rather not as well, just because, you know, me and my wife, our dog does not enjoy taking baths, and you got to be quite stern with the dog to like push her into the bath and keep her in the bath, and it's sometimes a big ordeal. So I'd rather not. At times it's necessary, and I have done it, but it's a difficult task for sure.
I was at my my wife was taking care of my in-laws' dog over the weekend. That's partially why we were there when we learned that it flooded, but that's another story. And she was giving the dog a bath because it was snowy outside, got in the mud. He was all muddy, and so she took him in and was trying to just like wash off his paws, but it wasn't working. So she's like, "I'll just gonna give him a whole bath." And then about that same time is when I decided that I should show up and help, but the door was locked, so I had to ring the doorbell. To which then the dog jumped out of the tub that it was in and ran to the door, tracking water all over the house. It was not a good time. So I definitely can agree with you that it should be either I'd rather not or hate it, because it seemed like the worst time. So
it's such a chore, dude. It's hard to keep them contained and stuff. But I'm glad we agree on that one. I'm not sure if we're going to agree on this next one, Blake. but it comes up to mowing the lawn. And this is the first one I want to put at love it / therapeutic, because I'm looking forward to one day having a lawn, whipping out the old lawnmower, and getting those lines looking right.
Yes, sir. No, I'm so glad you said that because I did not want to have to fight you on it. Because right now, neither of us have to mow. And maybe when it comes time to embrace the full white dad that we will be, and we have to mow, then, we won't feel the same. But as of right now, that means that I also am a homeowner. So that's another bonus because that means that I have a yard to take care of. So one up. And then also, you throw on some headphones, damage your ears entirely. But I feel like it's so therapeutic. You get those nice lines going. Oh, man.
Oh,
seems fantastic.
Man, yeah, I cannot wait for the day. It is definitely therapeutic on just getting those lines right. The grass is looking fantastic. Everybody's complimenting the yard. So glad we agree on that one, Blake. Let's get through this next one kind of quick. There's some of these that we're just going to need to kind of rush through. And I mean, mopping, I'd put it at I'd rather not because I think it's, kind of the worst.
It's a worse version of sweeping. Yeah.
Well, for sure. Yeah, let's throw it at I'd rather not. The next one is loading and unloading the dishwasher. What are your opinions on that, Blake?
Loading and unloading the dishwasher sucks. It's not a good time. I would rather hand wash, personally. I'm a hand wash man. Because I just, and here's the thing. It goes back to this. I know we said the speed round, but I got to go. This feels like two jobs because when it's time for me to do the dishes and I have to unload and then reload the dishwasher, that's two tasks. I've now done two chores for the price of one, and that's not a deal that I want to take. If it's just unloading or loading, then that's fine. I'll do that all day. But when it
takes 3 hours in between, Blake, it's like a whole new day by the time you get around to it.
Because here's the problem, though. So my wife and I, for example, will eat dinner. We'll take the dishes, load the dishwasher, start it. And the next day, we'll eat dinner. But we haven't had time to unload the dishwasher between that. We both are gone all day working. And so we get back, we cook dinner, and then it comes time for us to do the dishes. We have to unload the dishes from the previous night and then reload the dishes that have accumulated during that day and from dinner and whatnot. So that's two tasks. It's a 2-time job, and I don't want to do it. So if it was just one or the other, I'd put it way higher. But the fact that it's a 2-for-1 and I can't, and it's not a hand wash because that's totally different to me, I'd put it in I'd rather not.
Serious. Well, I would put it in don't mind it because I personally think it's better than hand washing. So I think we'll settle on a neutral if that sounds okay to you.
That's fair.
Okay. All right. Next we have paying the bills, Blake.
Hate it.
Why
would anybody put it any higher than
hate it?
Why would it? Everybody's awful. Like, you know what? The bills are actually all right to pay. I don't mind it. No, it's stupid. I hate it because it's just something you have to do, but it doesn't mean I can't hate it.
Yeah, definitely easy choice to just hate it, just based off of what it is. You just worked hard for that income and you're just sending it right away to 10 different companies that are providing whatever services. It sucks. And I think the next one on the list sucks as well, which is cleaning the gutters, Blake. I want to put that at hated as well because, I guess it's necessary, but it just feels so useless.
Yeah, like you need to do it. And neither of us have to do it right now, so maybe it's better than we think. But I have to go get a ladder, and I have to climb up that ladder, and then I have to clean out within an arm's reach, and then I have to move the ladder, and then I have to climb up. It sounds like a process.
Tedious.
So hate it. Yeah.
Yeah, any of the chores where you can hire like a big service to come clean all your gutters, that's going to be an entire Saturday or more of you just out there working on it. So I'm putting that in hate it. Because that's a terrible one. All right, let's get through these next couple. We got Windex, which is cleaning glass. I think I'm pretty neutral on that.
Yeah.
What about you, Blake?
Yeah, let's throw it in neutral.
All right, we'll stick that one in neutral. Doesn't really matter. And then we got dusting with dust spray. Hate it. All right.
Dusting is dumb.
It's dumb, but after some point of accumulation, it's necessary.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It can be satisfying if there's like a nice dust buildup, but also in the picture especially, it has a dust blower, which is the stupidest invention of all time. Because you want to know where that
Might
dust
as
is
well.
going? Right up into the
Into your
air,
house?
and it's coming right back down to where it just
Into
was.
your lungs?
It's going nowhere. So, like 95% of the dusters are just moving it around. You don't want it where it's at? Okay, we'll just move it into the air. That's fine. No, so hate it.
All right, the next one I can't even tell what this picture is. It looks like a bundle of sticks or a little thing of cinnamon, like the cinnamon sticks.
Yeah, I got no clue what this one is.
Let's just throw it in neutral. Move on. I'm a
All
big
right.
cinnamon guy. So, all right. Next, we have hand washing a car. I'm gonna put this in. I'd rather not, Blake. Where would you have this?
Oh, really? See, I would have put it in therapeutic.
Serious?
It's so satisfying because you get that nice shiny car. You're just out there,
Yeah.
you know. It's typically, I'm imagining it's a hot day. You got the water though. It's kind of like you're playing in the sprinklers when you're a kid. To me, washing your
You
car.
got your swimsuit on if you're Blake.
Yeah,
rubbing
exactly.
your chest on the windshield.
Yeah. It feels like the adult version of playing in the sprinklers because you got a hose. You know, you're just spraying a car down. It's going to get nice and shiny clean. So I'm a fan
See,
of
I
it.
did this when I worked for a rental car service, and I washed probably a couple thousand cars in my time there. And so, to me, it's not therapeutic. To me, it's stressful. To me, it was a reminder of negative times. So I'd rather take it to one of those places that has a pressure washer with a soap gun first, pressure washer afterwards, and call it a day. But
You're paying big
we're
car
gonna have
wash.
to kind of $6 or something. It's worth it for me just not to have to go back into PTSD of cleaning off dirty rental cars. A lot of scars from those days. So I've seen a lot of things in cars and on cars that you wouldn't believe, Blake. So I would say let's settle for neutral, maybe.
All right, that's fine.
Okay, I appreciate that one.
I'll give it to you.
All right, and the next one, I'm going to call it miscellaneous yard work. We got a wheelbarrow full of bark, which I want to put it in hate, personally.
I will put it in hate. I have
Let's go.
My parents have a larger than normal backyard. Like, there's just a lot of stuff going on back there, which is great until it came time to do yard work, and we'd spend all day Saturday, every Saturday. I have PTSD
Yikes.
from yard work. It's a miserable experience. So, yes, hate it.
I 100% agree with you on that one. We don't have to spend too much there. Moving forward, we have laundry, Blake, and this is a tough one for me because, my wife usually puts it in, takes it out, but she hates hanging up laundry. And so usually it just sits in the closet for 4 or 5 days, and then I finally hang it up. I'd probably put that in neutral to I'd rather not. Where do you have laundry?
See, laundry is a tricky one because putting it in the machine, changing it over, that's no big deal. That's easy. Folding it, though, is quite possibly awful. Like, it's one of the worst things.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you have a good show you're watching and you can just, do it in the background, then it's okay. For that reason alone, I won't put it in hate it, but I'll probably put it in I'd rather not, just because the amount of times that the laundry has been taken out and then just left, on the bed that I'd be hypocritical to put it above anything that's not I'd rather not.
You're like, I love it, and you do it once a year. Come on, Blake. All right. Next one, I think we just go over kind of quick, which is recycling. I would say neutral because
It all ends up in the same place anyways. It's a scam.
Yeah. All right. Next is making the bed, and I personally would put this in I'd rather not, just because that the sheet you put on first with the bungee ends, it's so hard to get on one end,
worst.
then on the other end.
Yeah, I would probably put it in hate
putting
it,
on
honestly.
whatever the top thing is.
Even the daily, even the daily making of the bed is awful because I just know that I'm not going to be there all day to see it made. The next time I'm going to see that bed is when I have to undo the bed to get back in. So, and then if you got 45 different pillows on there, like my wife does, then I can't even lay on the bed under normal situations because it's being taken up by pillows. So, yeah, no, I hate making the bed. It's awful.
Totally agree with you on that one. The decor pillows are definitely, whoever invented that was just selling giant pillows to a woman's fabric.
For $85 a piece, too. They're not cheap.
Yeah.
They're expensive.
You gotta have decor pillows on your bed, or it doesn't even
Ugh.
like count as a real bed. That's crazy, but I agree with you on that one, with the exception that there is no better feeling than getting your sheets out of the wash, having them on your bed, and then going to sleep on like crisp, fresh
Yeah,
sheets.
no,
That is an
a
amazing
fresh pair of
feeling.
sheets is nice, but like, and to me,
Doing the
like,
work to get there.
yeah, changing the sheets is one thing, but just making the bed every day is awful. So, but for me,
Oh
that's
yeah.
why it's so low.
And when you wash your sheets but forget to put them back on, and then you get home late,
Oh,
oh,
oh
that's the
man,
worst.
yeah,
All
that's
right,
awful.
moving forward, we've got cleaning bathrooms, Blake. This is interesting for me. I don't mind it actually. What about you?
Well, that's, I mean, they're kind of just gross. You know,
Yeah,
that's like
but someone's got to do it. You
I
know what
don't
I mean?
enjoy it
Somebody's
in
got
the
to take charge.
slightest. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can put it in I'd rather not. It's definitely I'd rather not or hate it because
All right,
I
I'll
it's
settle
not a
with
good
I'd rather
time.
not then,
All right.
for your sake. Okay, this next one, vacuuming to me is like mowing the lawn indoors. So I would put it in love it.
Yes, yes. You can get the lines in the carpet, and that's so
You can.
satisfying. And when you get the when you're mowing when you're vacuuming and you get the little like, you
Oh,
know
I was just gonna say the same
you
thing.
know you're sucking up stuff. Oh, it's so satisfying. So yes, I agree.
It's the best when you go over something heavy. It's like, you're like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, this thing
yeah.
is clean. Dude, me and my wife got a new vacuum a while back, and man, I take that thing out like every day. I love it, and it just makes the carpet look so much nicer.
Oh
Feels so
yeah.
good on your feet afterwards. So that's funny that we both enjoy vacuuming. All right, the next is it looks like gardening or planting outdoor flowers. Blake, where do
Hate
you
it.
stand on this?
That to me
All right,
that falls in the same category as yard work. I mean, that's the type of thing
yeah,
that I had to do as a kid every week. Like, because if you're planting
oof.
something, you also have to go back out and weed it. And weeding is child torture. Like, that's just one of the
Yeah.
worst jobs of all time. So, yeah, hate it.
So I think it's safe to say we can just throw weeding, which is also on this list, in the hate it,
Is
because for
that
me
yeah? Oh,
that's probably my biggest hate on this entire list, and something I spent a lot of hours doing as a young man. And what a terrible task!
it's horrendous.
Weeding is the
The
worst.
only time it's ever fun is when you get like just an open field and you can just like take a hoe and just go to town on those things because then you can just take out all the rage that you have for weeds out on weeds.
Uh,
Other than that, it's the worst thing ever. So
That's fair until you either find out half the field was plants, or your entire hand turns into a blister that is now ripped off
that will
because
happen. Yeah.
you were hoeing too hard out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that's that was the downfall of my childhood, hoeing too hard.
Classic Blake. All right, next we got your favorite, apparently washing dishes by hand. I hope you're not going to call this therapeutic.
I wouldn't. I mean, I could put it up there for sure. Like it's
Wow.
the problem is you have to dry it too, which again is a twofer. But it still seems better than most things. I'd probably put it in neutral at least.
That's where I would throw it, because, at times it just needs to be done. You don't want the dishwasher's already full. That's when I'm going to go to hand washing if there's things that are too big to fit. I don't want to worry about doing another load the next day. It's just easier to wash a couple things and be done with it. So I throw it in neutral. Usually I don't take too much time on it, so definitely not
Yeah.
quite the biggest pain. And then we have watering house plants. This is an easy task. This is the one you want as a kid because it's going to take you 5 minutes. There's
Yeah.
not really a wrong way to do it as long as you don't drown them out. And you can't really get in trouble for not doing it because you can just say, oh, yeah, it just drank up the water really fast. No one's
No,
really going
oh
to be able
well,
to
that
catch
plant was thirsty. Like that's
you. Like, man, this soil's dry.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I gave him the water yesterday. So
Yeah,
I put this in don't mind it.
you can also milk it like crazy. So I'd probably put it in don't mind it because you can be
Yeah.
like, "Oh man, I'm still watering this plant" while you're just scrolling or doing something else. And so, yeah, I'll put it in don't mind it for sure.
Perfect. And last but not least, we have in-home organizing, Blake. And this is something that to me is sometimes therapeutic.
I mean, I can see it. It depends on what I'm organizing. Like if it's something that I ordered a new organizing box thing and I can take a mess and then like actually keep it clean, then that's fine. If it's just I have to tear out an entire closet to then go back and re-put all the stuff in because I made a mess of the closet in the first place, I hate that because then I'm just like, I'm an idiot and it'll probably be right back in a week. So yeah, I mean I can put it in either don't mind it or neutral.
All right, let's throw that one in. I'm gonna throw that in. Don't mind it, and then we have our finished chores list. I think we did a good job. I personally thought for a while there, we would potentially have more in kind of at the top of the list. Turns out we hate all chores basically,
Yeah.
and there was a lot more at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. There's a really good chance I could put all of these and hate it. You could talk me into it. If you could tell me, hey,
that's fair.
You don't have to do any of these things ever again, I would not be upset. I would take that deal. So I feel pretty good about how it ended up. But yeah, let's not get it twisted. There are no very enjoyable chores that you want to do as hobbies.
Fair enough. But there you have it. There is our list. If you want to see it, we will be posting it to Instagram, so you'll be free to take a look. And we'll be posting a link as well, so you guys can take a couple minutes, make your own list, and send it to us. Let us know which chores we got right, which chores we got wrong, and how therapeutic you think lawn mowing is. But overall, I think we did a great job, Blake. You got anything else for the listeners today?
I do. I have an announcement to make because on the Monday that this episode comes out, it will be our dear host's Porter's birthday. So if you're still listening to this episode right now, first of all, thank you. Second of all, go give Porter some love at PM in the AM on Instagram, wherever you follow him, because, big man's birthday, so we got to show some support.
I appreciate it. I kind of forgot about that. So it'll be exciting day for me. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, we get like 1 million listens on this episode or something.
Ooh, that'd be good.
So share the show with a friend. That's the number one way to give me a birthday gift and Blake a late birthday gift as well. But all right, Blake, we appreciate all the support, and we will catch you guys next week.
Peace out.
Congrats on making it all the way to the end. We hope you enjoyed the show. You are now officially part of the PM in the AM fan base, the morning people, and we are super pumped to have you here. Now that you're a part of the crew, please share the episode with a friend, and make sure to check out the rest of our shows and social media content for more hilarious brackets, crazy questions, and an overall great time. Thanks for listening. It truly means a lot to us, and we'll catch you guys next week.